Okay, hopefully we should be getting notices.
There's the Twitter notification. We are live on Twitter. How about that?
Twitter and Elon are on the ball. Hey, I gotta say, I have hooked up in the last, I don't know, couple of months, several Starlink systems. Not that they're hard to hook up, but mounted the deals on the wall or on the roof or wherever. And so far, everybody's been exceedingly happy campers with the Starlink. Elon is the man. He might be a little quirky with Trump, but Elon is the man as far as that goes.
Every time I've talked to you, it seems like this past week or two, every time I talk to you, that's what you were doing. You were hooking up Starlink things. So,
Yeah.
what's the deal? Is it comparable? It's speed wise to
Well, all right. So
everything else, or what?
everybody bear with me I'll try to keep this really short. We all say speed because nobody can really comprehend what bandwidth typically is. But let me give the quick definition. So we say speed, but it's really bandwidth. It is the volume of water coming out of the hose, not the velocity. So imagine this. If you had a water trough and you had a couple of cows drinking from the water trough, one of those steel water troughs like you get at,
Right,
Tractor
right.
Supply or whatever. And you have a regular garden hose coming in. That regular garden hose could keep up with a couple of thirsty cows, but you put 10 cows in there, that garden hose can't keep up with those 10 thirsty cows no matter how much you pinch that hose and make it come out faster. You got to put a bigger hose in there, right? That's bandwidth. It's not the speed, although that's what we say because nobody understands bandwidth except us tech guys. But anyway, so with that said, the bandwidth on it is very good. He's got like, I don't know, 8,000 satellites up in the air right now. So it's easy to hook up, and so far it just works. I'm not saying it's foolproof, but it just works.
See, I'm going to show my age here. So you remember back like kind of when the computers first came out and you were logging into the internet and you had that little thing going across the screen.
Oh yeah, and the
That
dial tone sound.
Yeah, that's why I think about speed. That's why speed is the adjective that I use. And then the second thing, you cattle troughs. You know what cattle troughs were good for me as a kid? We
Swimming
used to
in.
no, we'd have fist fights in them. That
Well,
was what we
well,
did.
yeah.
We'd get into fist fights, and whoever got thrown out of the cattle trough, you was out. You lost,
Well,
and that's why I got busted teeth.
well, that's an interesting fact for everybody to know. I learned something new. I did not, after 200 and something, nearly 300 shows total, I did not know that, Mr. Lowry.
Well, that see, we need more cattle troughs. We need to go drop off cattle troughs in the middle of Green Acres Place and Benton, and we need more kids in cattle troughs growing up with some fist fights, toughening up, making our
That I would
society
agree.
a little bit stronger,
That I would
salty.
agree. Well, little known fact about me, the reason I will personally never own cows in my entire life is we had a farm when I was growing up. And it was my grandfather's rather expensive hobby, but my dad and I's full-time second job in addition to our other jobs, waiting in cow shit and all that. Excuse my language, folks. Um, and filling up the cattle troughs and moving cows and fixing barbed wire fences and all that. I'll never own cows because I want to own cows. If I want a steak, I'm going to the restaurant and getting a good steak, or maybe on occasion getting one from the grocery store and cooking one.
I, I nobody cooks steak the way I like it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love steak. That's the favorite thing. But anyway, I
yeah,
can't go eat a steak nowhere. They don't do it right. They screw it up. But
yeah.
anyway,
Speaking of screwing up, so what we have on the list to talk about is this little tit for tat, and we won't delve into it much right now. I'll just mention it. This little tit for tat between John Fleming and apparently Scott McKay, the Hayride, Chuck Owen, Blake Miguez, and well, the rest of the Republican delegation down in Baton Rouge that Fleming has stirred up. and the Bossier Shreveport crime stats. So we've got a couple of interesting things to talk about on a slow week. What else have we got, Duke? Anything?
Well, I think when we come back to our countdown, I want to look. There's a lot of big things coming down the pipe nationally. Um, the look, there's some things that have happened, like in Michigan, for example. You have one of the attorneys in the Secretary of State's office in Michigan that just uh, in court testified that he was a part of basically committing fraud in the state of Michigan in the 2020 election.
Oh, well, that's
Yes.
certainly interesting.
And basically is admitting that everything, again, we keep talking about all the black helicopters and stuff, but saying that everything everybody was saying was true. I mean, but this guy got caught, and he's
look, and you and I, we mostly agree on it, but we have a few slight differences. But I've kind of alluded to this before. But again, let me pitch out my theory. It's kind of like the Russia gate. Now, I don't want to get too far off on the national tangent, but Trump is throwing that.
All right, I got something on that too.
But Trump has thrown that out to divert attention away from the Epstein files that, he, in my opinion, and the opinion of many people, has bungled that. I'm not saying he's not going to release them. I'm saying he just didn't handle it right from a PR standpoint. We had everything going, and then he tripped over this. But that's okay. But he's throwing the Russia deal out there, and that's good, except that was 10 years ago nearly. What's anybody going to do about it? Really? Do you now? I hope the Trump administration, the DOJ, prove me wrong. But what are they actually going to do about it? Are they really? Because look, hey, Trump ran on lock her up. He said it at every Trump rally, every fundraiser. Lock her up. Crickets. Hillary ain't been in jail yet.
So, I agree.
Well, there's my rant.
Well, let's do the countdown. Let's come back and let's dive right off into it. A little bit of a splash of national stuff as well as local stuff, and all this carbon sequestration stuff, all this green energy stuff. There's so much money in it. It's
and
so
I know
great.
You just supported 100% and are behind it just as much as I am.
Oh yeah, I'm all green, baby.
All right, here we go with the countdown, folks. Y'all know the drill. We'll be back in, I don't know, 2.5 minutes, something like that. Go make your popcorn, get your stiff drink, let your friends know we're on, and we'll be rambling for a little while tonight about some stuff that's, kind of important. And we'll be right back. Ready, Mr. Lowrie?
Good, do it to it. If folks knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. There's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse.
Oh, folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS. We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks. Through conscious, shocking actions, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr. In theory, you know, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works.
This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. You know what's amazing to me?
What is amazing to you, Rex Moncrief?
It's very simple. You know, we keep saying, you know, over 200, nearly 300 shows between here and Louisiana Watch and all that, but all of these hours we have spent yapping away, most Tuesday nights and some Thursday nights and whatnot, that we still have people that tune in and listen to us. I mean, y'all are like gluttons for punishment.
I don't know what it is. I mean, we are grateful that people, you know, think that there's some value in what we jibber jabber about, and you know, look, I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that listens. Look, even when we first started, we had what, a dozen people, you know, which were family members and our wives watching, and so you know, it's taken off from there. Oh, I have something for you, Mr. Lowrie. Look, I have some new hats. Which one do you like? The gray? Do you like the gray or do you like the maroon? Gray.
Well, I have a gray already, so maybe a maroon to change things up a little bit. Because you know what I find? You know what I find myself? I don't want to wear my other hat. Because I don't want to get it dirty. I'm afraid that
get the sweatband up there and all that.
Yeah, or I'll get grease on it or something like that.
Well, these will be a little bit less expensive because they are the digital transfer. But still, I've had my son Michael wearing one outside, cutting grass and sweating. They hold up really well. The Richardson 112s. I also did. Look at that. Ooh, that one's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm not a brown guy, but that's a pretty hat. But anyway, so I also had some monogram ones done from our friend Destiny Collier up there in Benton. And we'll have those up on the website.
That's right. They do. The Colliers up there have a place right there in downtown Benton. They do a lot of advertising, signs, embroidery, you name it. As far as advertising, they do a good job up there too.
And not just that, they have a wedding chapel there. Did you know that Gina and I got remarried there back in 2010?
I had no idea.
Yes. It's a long story, but we share the story. We've been married twice, and the second time we got married was up there at their wedding chapel and had a wonderful wedding. They did a great job with it.
How about that? That's pretty cool. I did not know that.
So, and look, they don't sponsor the show or anything. I wrote Destiny. Well, actually, I paid her cash for these hats today, but she does a great job up there. And her father-in-law, Mr. Mike Collier, has been a good friend of both of ours for a long time. Anyway, so shout out to them. They do a good job on hats and stuff and promotion and stuff. Anyway, all right. Enough of the hawking gear type thing and merchandise. What shall we talk about first?
Well, hey, I shared my screen to you. Do you know what I was doing 9 years ago today? I love this about Facebook. I do love this. You know how they pop up those things in your feed
memories.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Very gorgeous young lady. And who's that little bald dude beside her?
I don't know. I got to tell you, his belly sticks out a little more today than it did back then. But that is my bride and myself, and you know that was when we flew up to Cleveland to the Republican National Convention in 2016, and I was actually proud of that convention. Look, there was a lot happened. The most conservative limited government platform in the history of the party was, adopted at that time. And interestingly, when we flew in right there with my good friend Ronnie Ramirez, you remember Ronnie?
Yep.
Don't know where Ronnie's at these days. Hadn't talked to him in a long time. When we flew in, Trump's plane was right there. I mean, just basically right there out of the same place we were at.
Yeah.
And he was, not president at that time. And to be that close, it was just kind of shocking. And,
Yeah. Hey, good times. And look, I mean, I gripe about Trump every now and then. Don't get me wrong. I voted for Trump in 2016, voted again in, what was that, 2020, 2021, whatever. And then, of course, voted for him again in the last election. Honestly, if he ran again, I'd probably vote for him again. I mean, Constitution and amendments aside, but that doesn't mean I always agree with everything he does, and that's the brilliance of it. Is that I think I'll just call the new Republican Party, the whole MAGA movement, all of that put together, is that look, we don't always agree all of the time.
Ooh, no, we don't agree. That's for sure. And Walk on Water, ironically, was kind of talking about that today, and I have a link in the notes there for that. And Trump, interesting, we're talking about Trump because Trump, there's a link at the end of the initial banner part. Trump made some comments in the Oval Office today that I got to tell you are pretty profound. Did you
Really?
ever think that in your lifetime that there would be the consideration of a former president being prosecuted for treason?
Well, look, I no, I didn't really, but I've got to say, I'm going back to what I said before the break. Lock her up. Well, here we are, years and years and years, nearly a decade from that, and nothing happened. So hopefully it's not just banter this time. If the Obamas did collude, commit treason, it's looking like, of course, from our side that they absolutely did. But if they did, yeah, I hope they go after them. But I'll believe it when I see it. And I hate to be the pessimist, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I don't have any, I don't have any reservations that there was fraud in the elections. I don't have any reservations that, the Russian collusion thing, that they committed fraud. I don't have any reservations that the FBI, framed everybody on January 6th. I mean, I have no reservations about any of that crap. In fact, our show monologue thing, the thing that's when we go to the break and we talk about it, we've got examples before all of this in our thing. I don't know if you even realize this, but case in point, when I went, we talk about we have the guy that driving the bus is in the Walmart parking lot and say, and I'm interviewing him. That was before it was mainstream about all these illegal aliens and that we were quote unquote being invaded.
Very true.
I mean,
who knew you had a crystal ball in your hand while you were interviewing that guy?
But what's worse is that ain't the first time I did that, Rex.
Right.
Before we even started this show, I can tell you, Encinal, Texas, it's down around Laredo. I literally did this exact same thing, except I went to a bus, and this wasn't a Hispanic type person. This was actually an American. And I talked to him. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm bringing all these illegals up here. And I'm like, where are you taking them? He's like, well, I don't completely know yet. They'll tell me. They just told me to
drop them off.
And
random
he says,
spots.
I'm like, well, how long have you been doing this? Too long. He said, but I'm done. He said, I can't keep doing this. I've got some ethics. And he said, I'm quitting the following week. And I was working in South Texas when that happened. And then when I happened to be in that, I can't remember exactly, in that Walmart parking lot, and this freaking guy, all these Hispanics, and I quizzed him in the parking lot. but that was before all this became mainstream. And then remember the when we took the mail ballot, can you unseal a mail ballot and stuff it?
Yeah.
We showed them.
Full disclosure and disclaimer, we did not attempt to send that ballot in that you were showed on the show. But you're right. Look, I've been accused of being conceited and posting our accolades on Bossier Watch and other Facebook pages. And look, it's true. I don't make any bones about it. I am a little bit conceited, but there is no doubt that here on this show, we, and specifically you in a lot of cases, have done things way before their time or said, hey, have you checked in there? You heard anything about this? We need to talk about this, And so, yeah, you're right. We've been very groundbreaking. And like I said, you in particular with some of your ideas.
Well, and just like wearing the SCBA mask, remember us going when COVID and everybody was out. Oh, you got to have the COVID mask, and the COVID Nazis were, oh, you got to go get the jab and all that. And they were all saying, if you don't wear your mask, you're going to get kicked out of the store and all this stuff. And we literally showed the proof that it didn't work. It wasn't going to protect you. That was bull crap. And every week I see it in our little advertisement thing, me wearing the mask and I sound like Darth Vader. And okay, so everybody watching, I want all of y'all to know Ricky Bridges is watching from Destin Beach. He wants all of y'all to know that while y'all are all sitting down here, suffering through 105, 108 degree temp, whatever it is here, that he's on the beach down there living it up.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ricky. We appreciate knowing that, really.
Yeah, Ricky, you're the guy.
Yeah, that's let's see. And Larry James Hawkins, although it's probably just as hot, if not hotter, in Atlanta, Larry James Hawkins did say he was watching from Atlanta, Georgia. Personally, I'd rather be down in Destin.
Yeah, I think I'd have to be with Ricky as well, too. I will tell you, Danny McCormick, I did talk to Danny because I was trying to get Danny McCormick on the show with Representative Owen, and Danny's down there on the beach somewhere, too. So,
that rascal.
Ricky, yeah, you're not by yourself, Ricky.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. All right, so what's the deal with have I got the right video pulled up that you wanted to do?
You do. That's one of the two. And, walk on water, we were talking about, the carbon sequestration. And here we've got this kind of, I don't know, the storm going. And it's mostly, the Democrats are just kind of sitting back eating it up. But all the Republicans are eating each other up in Louisiana. And Walk on Water here is talking about it because, ironically, we got the same thing cooking up in D.C. And what does Walk on Water have to say on it?
Well, let's listen up. Here we go.
Just to follow up on that, I know before when you were asked whether or not you would back Mr. Massey for re-election, you didn't give a direct answer. He had some harsh things to say about your leadership yesterday related to the Epstein files. Have you made up your mind whether or not you would support him or back him against the primary
So as the leader of my party, I lead the incumbent protection program. Okay, that's my job. I go all around the country. I travel endlessly, incessantly. I have to raise over $300 million to do that, and we want everybody to come back. And some people, I try to protect them from themselves, They kick and scream and bite their own colleagues. Some people seem to enjoy and trying to inflict political pain on their own teammates. I'm not going to address anybody individually, but I'll tell you that some here are much more frustrated than others. There's a small, tiny handful, but one in particular who's given me lots of consternation. I don't understand Thomas Massey's motivation. I really don't. I don't know how his mind works. I don't know what he's thinking. Thomas Massey could have brought his discharge petition any time over the last 4.5 years. Over the last 4 years of Biden administration, he could have done that at any time. And now he's clamoring as if there's some sort of timeline on it. It's interesting to me that he chose the election of President Trump to bring this, to team up with the Democrats and bring this discharge petition. So do I have some concern about that? I do. But you know, in me and my way, I try to follow Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment. Never speak evil of another Republican. My gosh, it's hard to do sometimes around here. I also try to follow the scripture. You know, it says, bless those who persecute you. So let me just say about Thomas Massey, could you just accept my Southern, bless his heart? Okay? I don't know what else to say about it. We're for maximum transparency. We're engaging in that right now.
You can stop it. You can stop it. You can stop it. Just please. So, Rex, I'm guessing that after you hearing that, you probably know why that caught my attention.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, explain it to us, though, for those of us listening.
Well, so when we do our show, you know, go on the break, we talk about a knife in the back.
Yeah.
And that's in our thing. And, you know, that knife wound is still there. And, you know, I hear Walk on Water saying that he doesn't understand, but yet I know that's not accurate because I know he understands better than anybody because in my mind or for me, that knife in the back I'm talking about, he perfected it.
Yeah. He's the one that shoved it in the back.
So how can he or you know, stand up there at that podium and say he doesn't understand? And you know, he's going to
make me say something really mean.
He's going to invoke Ronald Reagan, and he's going to say, "Bless those who persecute you." I mean, so am I supposed to bless?
One of Mike Johnson's gifts is the gift of the silvery tongue. He's got it. Look, I've said from day one, even when I say not so nice things about MJ, he has the gift of the silvery tongue. It is a God-given gift, and he is very good at it. He is as eloquent a speaker as Barack Obama was. And let's face it, for all Barack Obama's faults, the man could deliver a speech. So can Mike Johnson. Really well. For him to invoke Reagan, he ain't no Ronald Reagan.
He ain't no Ronald Reagan. Not at all. And the incumbent protection program, y'all think about that.
Yeah. Well, hey.
The incumbent protection program.
You want to know what that... Let me switch the screens back. Hold on just a second. I want y'all to notice something. Now, look, I'm, mid-50s, so I've definitely put on a little bit of weight. I did lose some of it when I had the COVID the first time, the Rona, but I've put a little bit back on, but that's because I sit behind the keyboard a lot and play keyboard warrior. But I want you to notice something about Mike. Do you notice, Duke? Because Mike's about mine and your size. Mike's not a very big guy. He has the gift of shortness like we both do. I think he's put on a little weight.
I don't know on that one. I don't know at all. But what I would say is the guy over his right shoulder, one, is hiding something, and two, he feels guilty about it. Steve Scalise, he has no idea what's being said, but he enjoys what's happening and what is being said by MJ and the dialogue that's happening. He enjoyed it. He obviously doesn't like Thomas Massey. But the guy over his right shoulder, there's something he's hiding, definitely.
Well, this will be interesting. We'll see how all this plays out. I mean, I don't know. Look, he's managed to keep the speaker position so far. Got to give him credit for that. He has weaseled his way right through the mire of Washington and managed to keep the speaker's position.
Well, I would advise him, political pain on your teammates. Hey, Mike, you know what? You should remove the knife once you put it in somebody's back. You should take it out. And, that,
bless his heart.
That's what you should do, Mike. You should just take it out yourself, and own up to the fact that you did it. But
And for those of you that may be new to the show who haven't caught on, neither Mike or neither Duke nor I have a very high opinion of Mike for personal reasons. Duke more so than me, even, and we've talked about it, before. But if you're an MJ fan, well, newsflash, we're not.
But I will tell you, when all of the world media called me and wanting me to spill the beans on one walk on water, you know what I told them, Rex?
What's that?
I told them that I won't be the reason that Mike Johnson fails, that our state and our area needed everything that Mike Johnson could do for us from that position.
And that is true.
And
that is true.
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot coming this way.
Yeah. Well, we got reached out to as Bossier Watch as well from some magazines during all of that, and wanted some, basically dirt on Mike. And you just got to find another source. Other than that, go back and listen to our shows and see what we've said, and there you go. What we do,
right.
what we say either to somebody's face directly or every Tuesday night to the cameras. So
yeah, no doubt.
Anyway, let's see. April Giles says, I missed the beginning. Is Rep Chuck Owens coming on? Okay, Miss April. He is scheduled to, but I think, Duke, is he traveling, or we're not quite sure if he's going to be able to make it or not. He's trying.
Yeah, he's trying. He said he was going to be delayed, so we are kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern. We're going to kind of go through the rest of the other content that we were going to cover, awaiting him to say he's available to come on. And we're just going to be playing it by ear.
So we're going to probably rearrange our topics. Hey, let's mention the City Council workshop for a few minutes. I meant to kind of do that right after we came out of the break, and I just kind of skipped over it.
Now, are you talking about Cliff Smith's workshop, or are you talking about something else?
Well, there's actually, as a bonus, too. So Cliff Smith has put together, I don't know if he's calling it a workshop or kind of a town hall style meeting. We shared that out on the Facebook page under Bossier Watch. He is having let's just call it a town hall meeting coming up pretty quick. So, hey, everybody in Bossier City invited to go. We encourage everybody to go. Be able to answer questions, ask questions, and all that sort of thing. There's also, though, a city council workshop next Monday. It'll be at 5:30 p.m. That's July the 28th at the city council chambers at 5:30 p.m. Supposedly Tommy's administration, I don't know if Tommy's going to do it, or I don't know who they'll get up to. I guess maybe Amanda will, but to present an update on the public works fee increases to those apartment complex owners that all got their panties in a wad over this public works fee, and they act like, gosh, how could they know this was coming? Well, if they had, again, my big beef with them is if they had been paying attention to the city council long beforehand, they would have known about it. But they're going to have this city council workshop. Public comment period will allow 3 minutes per person, up to 45 minutes total. So I'm going to put out the call, and I'm sure you will too, Mr. Lowrie. Everybody that can attend that workshop, it's at 5:30. Everybody gripes, why don't they have meetings later in the evening and all that? Well, here's one at 5:30. It's right after most people get off work, but there it is, 5:30. Next Monday, we will also put out a reminder.
I mean, you said, why has it always got to be panties? Why can't it be underoos or underwear or boxers? It's always got to be panties.
That's when you say underoos, that denotes children, and that's getting Epstein-esque. That's why I said panties.
But that goes back
the
to
phrase is always panties in a wad. I'm sorry for the ladies watching, but look, it's a commonly used and known phrase.
But did you not have underoos as a kid?
Oh, absolutely. I had Spider-Man underoos, Superman underoos. Not just the under. I mean, like the full Superman cape and everything that came with it. I was a big fan of underoos.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know. Why has it always got to be panties? I mean, I don't know. That's what is that?
It's an adult show, and unless you're wearing underoos that I don't know about right now, which hey, if you are, whatever, to each their own. But
now you getting a little personal there.
To each their own. Whatever.
Because I really don't think everybody wants to know what I'm wearing right now. I see I didn't know you were making this an X show.
We have devolved into straight up Jerry Springer stuff on this show now.
Oh,
that's what happens when it's relatively slow political week. Everybody that's new to the show is going up, click, click off of that crap. All right, so let's see. We the People Bayou Community, Louisiana CO2 Alliance. All right, I guess they're tagging some folks, so that's pretty cool. Glad to have you all watching. Right as we're talking about underwear and all that and stuff that odd stuff. All right, so what's this other? Do we want to show this other X link that you have in the notes?
Well. Yeah. So earlier in the show, we were talking about more federal things, and we can kind of go there. I want y'all to listen to what the president said here. I mean, look, Trump is Trump. He loves to talk. He loves the camera, and you have to always kind of take things with a grain of salt of what he says. But right here, he says something profound right here in the Oval Office to the national media with all of his cabinet sitting here. And I don't know that this is something that's ever been said before. And you got to play it.
Okay, well, let's listen up. Here we go.
Who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
From your
you can stop it.
Yeah.
He basically just said a former president committed treason, and it's not even a question.
That's I'm trying to remember back in history. I'm not sure that a sitting U.S. president has ever made that statement. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember, historical quotes. That's pretty amazing. I don't think the Obamas and the DNC are going to take that lightly.
Nixon wasn't accused of committing treason. I don't know that.
It was just pretty much theft.
Yeah, it was just pretty much theft. I mean, but when you got a president of the United States accusing a former president of treason, and I got to tell y'all, I think that we are in for a roller coaster of a ride in this country in the next, I hate to say year, but I'm going to say less than that. I'm going to say 30 to 60 days.
It's going to be interesting. There's no doubt about it. But again, I go back to lock her up. So it's one thing for him to just say that at a press conference or repeat it, whatever. It's going to be a completely different thing if they actually do something about it. Because remember, he was going to lock her up and then decided, oh no, we're not going to do that. It was just a campaign slogan.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So
we'll see.
So, Walk on Water talking about, Republicans eating Republicans up and all that good stuff. You know what? We need to wait on that. We need to. I'm getting ahead. We need to wait on that a little bit.
Well, all right. Have you heard from Chuck yet? Because if not, we can go right into the Bossier crime stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go into the Bossier crime stuff, and I might have a surprise for you, Rex.
Oh, this should be
talk a little bit about that. I think I may have a surprise and a surprise guest for everybody on the show, including you.
Don't tell me Tommy's finally coming on the show.
No. Tommy said that he would if it was just me, but because you're on there,
Cash Patel?
No, Cash ain't having none of it because he knows we'd ask something about the Epstein stuff, and then his boss, the Blondie wouldn't want none of it. So, but no, it's a Bossier politician, another one of those Bossier politicians.
Okay.
But I'm inclined to believe this is one of the good guys. This is one of the guys that is doing some good. He's doing some real good. In fact, I think he's wanting to try to address this question regarding crime. And did you see the stuff on that Keel was putting out, or did you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I just switched the screens. This is a screenshot of it from their website, but Keel says, new study, Bossier City ranks in 10 most dangerous lists, Shreveport doesn't. Now, that's a pretty provocative head. It's kind of like saying, former president committed treason. It's pretty much a bomb thrower.
Well, I think there's a whole lot more in this deal here. I mean, so I think statistically, I mean, that may be accurate and may be true.
Well, all right. So I've got, hold on just a second. Let me get the link pulled up here. I'm a little bit behind the 8-ball here. Got 4 million tabs open tonight. So let me switch screens again to there. So Keel's article is based on this article on riolink.com. And so we can link that in the show notes. I think Sadow, he posted an article, we'll show some of that, but he also had a link to this post, which again, the Keel post is based on this post. And here they say the top 10 most dangerous cities in Louisiana 2025 update. Let me see if I can make that a little bit larger for folks to read here. But again, we'll link it. I may throw it in the comments here in a minute. It says, ever wondered which places in Louisiana you should think twice about after dark? Louisiana is famous for jazz, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we go on down. Is Louisiana dangerous? Top 10 most dangerous cities in Louisiana. Number 1, Marksville. Number 2, Monroe. Number 3, Alexandria.
Not surprised by Funro getting it on over there.
As a former Monrovian, or whatever the official title is, I lived part of my life in Monroe. I don't doubt that right now. Number 3, Alexandria. Number 4, Opelousas. Number 5, New Orleans. I would have thought New Orleans would be higher on the list, but we're going to talk a little bit about how they rank these. Number 6, West Monroe was interesting to me. Number 7, Bogalusa. Number 8, Jennings. Number 9, Baton Rouge. Number 10, Bossier City. Now, I want to go ahead and read this so people will know. Because again, the Keel article was based on this. So, by using crimes per 100,000, we normalize for city size and allow fair comparison. Cities ranking highest in combined violent and property crime rates are flagged as most dangerous. So, it's cities ranking highest in combined violent and property crimes according to this Real Link article. They're using the FBI's UCR, Uniform Crime Reporting data in 2025. And then they go on how to stay safe. Blah, 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 and all that. Is Baton Rouge or New Orleans more dangerous? New Orleans has a slightly higher violent crime rate, 1,361 per 100,000 than Baton Rouge at 1,004 per 100,000, making New Orleans the more dangerous of the two by that metric. So, I did some digging on this because, look, the truth is I've preached about this before on this very show. I said, look, we'll make fun of Shreveport. We make fun of Shreveport, but the truth is Bossier City in many respects is more dangerous than Shreveport, but Shreveport's murder rate per capita is through the roof compared to Bossier's. But there are a lot of other violent crimes where Bossier actually leads Shreveport. So this isn't news to me because I've actually read the FBI's uniform crime data. I've actually read those reports. The math don't lie.
But, yeah, I know, I agree the math don't lie, but admittedly, I didn't read this article, but what are we talking about here? Are we talking about violent crime or are we talking about petty theft?
We are talking there. Now, I skimmed that article, but I've done a thorough comparison using our electronic helper, but I'm double checking all the math and the numbers and the links and the citations and all that. But that is violent crime, which I've got it here. The FBI defines violent crime as murder and non-negligent manslaughter, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. So, and our guest is in the room. Let me get the screen set up for this. So, who is going to be our guest so I can put his name there? Well, or maybe we'll keep it as a surprise. I'll just put no name. And then it'll be a total surprise. All right, give me just a second here. Let me get this set up. Mystery guest.
All right.
Hold on just a second.
Mr. Surprise guest.
Yeah, all right. So let me assign him to number 3. And, I recognize that feller. Well, looky there.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Mr. Cliff Smith.
How are y'all?
We're doing good, Mr. Smith, and appreciate you dropping in. As you can hear, we were kind of talking about this report that Keel was talking about crime statistics and where they, supposedly ranked Bossier as being more violent than Shreveport on this statistic. And you just now in the seat and in Bossier. And I mean, look, you're being proactive and I appreciate it. You put a town hall meeting together and I think you had the police chief. Did he have any words or comments regarding any of this? I'm sure he may have. Were there any questions?
Well, our town hall has not happened yet. It's coming up
August
the 4th. No, sir. We tried to, but just the way our dates worked out, it's going to be on August the 4th at the Shady Grove Rec Center. Now, I have heard from Chief Hagan, and he said he would be there or he would have a representative there. And one of the promises that I made people whenever I was running for this was that I would be as transparent as possible. There's some things that you just kind of hold close to your vest until the time is right. But I'm trying to get out in front of it, be as transparent as I possibly can. I have promised that I would hold town hall meetings, and so this is the first one. I've got another one that I've already got booked with the rec center for November. So we'll see how this one goes. If we can get turnout, if we can get participation, we'll keep having them. And let me say that this town hall is not so much about me giving information to the citizens that come. It's more about us getting information from the citizens. What do they want? What are their needs? I've told people, if I don't know, I don't know. I'm not, unfortunately, on every street in every subdivision every day. You know what's going on your street. I know what's going on my street, but I don't know what's going on your street unless you tell me. So I've been getting emails, I've been getting phone calls, and so I thought, man, this is going to be a great way to get out in front of this, allow people to come and vent, to share their concerns. I talked to one lady, and she was throwing out ideas about how we can beautify, we can do this. I'm going, great, bring that to us. This is what we want to hear. This is what we want to. This is what we want back from y'all. You know, we not going to say anything except positive things about our council that we have today. We're trying to be proactive. We want to hear from the citizens. I mean, I'm one guy, and I didn't get elected to go up there and voice my opinions. I got elected to go up there and voice the opinions of 6,000 or so voters in District 3. And so I need to hear from their voices. I need to hear what they got to say. And so that's the whole purpose of this town hall. Now, with that said, I have invited the mayor to come, Chris Smith, Brian Hammonds. I've invited some other councilmen there so that, because, I mean, face it, I've been on the job 2 weeks. I'm ignorant.
Right.
So I'm bringing in people that have some knowledge that can help and take notes and give feedback. So,
do you plan on recording any of the video? Because if not, if you want to, you know, it's not required because it's you know, by law, because it's a town hall style meeting. But if you need some help videoing it, just let me know, or maybe we can get Wes, you know, Marriott or something like that to help. But just let one of us know.
That's a great idea. I hadn't, guys. I am. How's the word? Simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Let people come and talk. I hadn't considered audio, video recording. That may be a good idea, just to have me something to be able to go back and review and follow up on.
Sure.
One thing, and I'd like to impress this: if you call me, I have my city phone now. It's published on the website. Call me and tell me what's going on. But the best thing you can do, and I'm telling everybody this, follow up with me with an email. Give me a paper trail. That way I can forward it up to the people that need it. I can wait and I can follow up with them and get replies back. So phone calls are great. I love talking to people, but I need an email. So please email me. That's on the website as well.
Well, Cliff, you know, we were talking about earlier the crime and this kill thing that's gotten a lot of people fired up, and you know, from the last council to now, you know, Jeff Sadow put out a pretty good piece today, and he was talking about how, and I'm not trying to get you to take shots at the previous council, but he made a good point that, you know, the priority, you know, of the previous council, you know, wasn't obviously fighting crime. And I think there were some councilmen, you know, I know that it was a personal issue to Chris Smith and Brian Hammonds. But this council going forward, you know, have y'all had any discussions or talked about how you wanted to place more of an emphasis on crime and all? And while I think there's an argument to be made about the validity or spillover from Shreveport into Bossier on these crime statistics, but have y'all specifically had any discussions about trying to do more regarding crime in Bossier?
You know, we've been in this, let's see, today marks 3 weeks since we held our hand up and took our oath of office. Not specifically, I'm going to be straight up honest, we have not specifically said, how are we going to attack this problem? We have generalized in that, how are we going to make Bossier better? How are we going to attract businesses? How are we going to attract new families moving in? So that topic will come up, I have no doubt. But today, not specifically have we said, here's what we're going to do. You know, we are at 99% of our police force now, so we're back up full staff. I hope to see some turnarounds. I know, gosh, in my neighborhood, there's been talk of car break-ins and things like that, and then the next sentence is, man, I saw Bossier PD out in force. There was 4 cars come through the neighborhood. They were chasing a guy, whatever, a guy through a backyard. So I think that's going to help us tremendously just by having our police force back up to full numbers. And then, you know, of course, we're going to talk about what can we do as a council to increase the police presence, to give them more tools to work with. So we haven't had a specific discussion yet, to get back to your question, but it's coming. We'll have that discussion. But we all need input back from the people who elected us.
All right, so I want to, and I know you may not have read maybe that whole article or anything yet, but I want to, after looking at some of the FBI crime data, and again, I've reviewed that before. Basically, here's a quote from the report that we'll be publishing on Bossier Watch, but it says, bottom line is, Bossier City is only safer than Shreveport in certain categories, like homicide. Bossier City is far and away safer than Shreveport in homicides per capita. But in aggregate, it's about equivalent, and in some cases, worse per capita. You know, the old quote is, Bossier City really safer. In overall violent crime, not necessarily. Murder rate, yes. And so I want to make sure that that's clear to everybody, that we're not saying that, you know, Bossier has more murders or more murders per capita. And I think over here we tend to solve our murders better. You know, credit to the Bossier PD. They don't have too many unsolved murders. And in Shreveport, my understanding, I hadn't looked at these numbers, you know, a lot of times some of their murders go unsolved for quite some time.
Correct. We live in a society that, well, let me just say this. The police department, the way our society is today, is a reactive, in any society, they react. It's hard to be proactive. A lot of that rolls right back on me, the citizen. What am I doing to be proactive? Let's talk the people who were talking about car break-ins. Am I locking my car? Am I taking my weapon? If I have a weapon, am I taking it out of the car and locking it in my house? We've got to be proactive. Everybody, not everybody, most everyone has cameras now. So again, the big thing is we as citizens can help our police department by doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and also,
I'm not trying to divert that question away from anything else. I'm just saying we have a job to do as citizens.
Yeah, and I've said this before, so I won't belabor the point too much, but I can tell you for a fact that at least historically, now maybe it's changed with RSNO's administration and all that, but historically in the last decade or even longer, the general feeling is, hate to say this about Shreveport PD, but they're considered the mall cops by a lot of the, let's just say, younger generation that may be committing some of these crimes. And the feeling is, once you go across the river and you're into Bossier City doesn't play around. They find you, arrest you, beat the crap out of you, whatever they got to do first, ask questions later, and the DA generally backs them up. I mean, we've had our issues with Schuyler, but he does tend to back up the police department. And that little bit, that may sound harsh, and it's no criticism of our police department. It's that literally some of that spillover crime from Shreveport hasn't happened because, well, they fear the Bossier cops more so, at least historically, than the Shreveport cops.
Well, see, I'm going to disagree with you, Rex. I think that a large majority of what we have in Bossier when it comes to the violent crime stuff is spillover from Shreveport. I don't know that that's a statistic that's actually tracked, but I bet we could probably survey law enforcement, and I bet they would confirm that the majority of the violent crime cases that we have are spillover from Shreveport.
Oh, some of it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying part of the insulation that Bossier has experienced in the past, although the trend has changed in the last several years. But part of the insulation we've had in the past is Bossier, yanks you out of the car, beats the hell out of you, solves the case, and deals with the repercussions later. Whereas, and again, I hate to denigrate any of the Shreveport police officers, so I'm not saying all of them individually, just in general, but they're kind of like the mall cops, comparatively speaking. Now, according to the FBI data, that theory that I have, which I can kind of back up, but that theory that I have may be changing because some of this crime data is changing where the gap between Bossier and Shreveport in violent crime total is closing. Again, Shreveport leads the way absolutely in murders per capita.
So Cliff, sorry, me and Rex tend to go at it a little bit every now and then.
Yeah.
Cliff's regretting his decision.
I feel like that this discussion is better suited for someone that's in law enforcement. Okay.
Right.
As a new councilman, I don't have the answers. As an old councilman, I wouldn't have the answers.
Well, let me ask you this. I got a question for you, Cliff. So you've got District 3. First, let everybody know, kind of generally speaking, what District 3 encompasses. And I'll kind of put you on the spot here. Do you feel relatively safe in your district? So, you're out campaigning. You're out walking the streets. Do you feel relatively safe in your district in Bossier City?
Yes. My district begins at Panther Drive, Elm Grove Middle School, goes north, catches a little bit of Sun City, 90% of Shady Grove, all the way back to Mike Wood Park, Bel Air, Pecan Park, hops over Barksdale Boulevard and goes all the way to I-20 up at Bayou Outdoors Repair Center, all that Central Park area. And then Old Minden Road on the north side, Airline Drive on the east side, and Barksdale Boulevard on the west side. So you've got that little pie in there. It's a pretty large district. In today's time, there are a lot of people who don't go in their front yard because they're afraid. There's not a place in our district. There may be some that I would be more careful in, but afraid to go in. No, This is a great district down here. It's mostly hard working, blue collar people, school teachers, doctors, refinery workers, all, we've got the whole basket.
Yeah, and look, I'm around Bossier City and Shreveport quite frequently throughout the week, and going to different neighborhoods and helping people with computers and all that. And look, I don't go any neighborhoods that I don't feel relatively safe. But then again, I'm different. I try to pay attention, to my surroundings, do all the basic security things that you should do. And so it doesn't matter if you live in a gated community, you should still be vigilant and aware. But I think overall, most people in most areas, the vast majority of the areas in Bossier City would feel absolutely safe walking down. What's the downtown deal? The East Bank District. I've been there a couple of times at night. We go eat dinner, have a few drinks with the wife and some friends or whatever. Don't have any problem walking down there. Don't have any problem walking around Bass Pro Shops. Even the boardwalk, back when it was a thing, you absolutely felt pretty darn safe at the boardwalk, thanks in part to the police presence back then, but that's a whole other issue.
So, back to the original reason why I'm here. Remind people, August the 4th, 6 o'clock at the Shady Grove Rec Center. Now, granted, it's open to anybody and everybody, but this is District 3. I set this up primarily for District 3. I sent it, I put it out in all the neighborhoods that I'm a member of, and I think I've got them all covered now for District 3. But again, if you're from District 1 or District 5 or whatever, and you show up, you're not going to be run off. We'll make you feel welcome. So, 6 o'clock on August the 4th, Shady Grove Rec Center.
Perfect.
Please
Well,
come voice your opinion.
I will take that announcement you just made, cut it into a short, and post it on Bossier Watch too.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, Cliff. Well, we appreciate you coming on, brother, and look forward to your town hall, and keep up the good work. I mean, that is what public service is about, is you're listening to the people and affecting what their will is. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yes, sir. My sentiments exactly. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good evening, Cliff. Thank you.
You too. Goodbye.
Surprise.
Well, surprise. Cliff is such a nice guy.
Oh yeah, he is rock solid. So I don't even know where we were. We
were kind of rambling on, kind of waiting on Chuck, hoping he was going to be able to make it. But but hey, I'll take Cliff coming on too. It's a good substitute.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put a
one last Hail Mary text to see if he's going to make it.
Well, just how you looking?
Yeah. And look, if he doesn't, folks, we apologize. But, sometimes things happen. This is a live show. And, if people get behind or whatever, there, not much we can do about it. So this is not pre-recorded. It is live.
Yeah. So, we started out talking about how Republicans eating Republicans. And, you got this thing. We show an MJ. He's taking little shots at Massey, in which, Massey deserves a few shots. Massey doesn't hold nothing back. Massey, I don't know. I mean, I got to admit, I have to somewhat agree with, Walk on Water. I don't completely understand Massey either, and why Massey does or says some of the crap that he does. And this almost is, it's kind of like this deal going on in Baton Rouge with Fleming and this carbon sequestration thing. It's a little perplexing because look, you know what it is, and I know what it is. It's politics.
Right.
It's politics. It's not as much about the issue as it is politics and jockeying to try to favor the person that individual people favor. And this case is exactly that. Fleming has found a wedge issue, and he's right. I'm sorry, he's right on the issue. But what it does is it's put a lot of the legislature, it's put Miguez, it's put even people that we're friends with. We had Scott McKay on here not long ago.
Right.
It's put Miguez in a box. Just a lot of people.
Yeah, and look, I got to say too, both you and I are big fans of John Fleming and support John Fleming. That doesn't mean I don't really support Miguez, because we've interviewed him too. He's a great guy, and I got to say that we played the one video. I'm not playing it again because Facebook will cut us again, unfortunately. It's a great video. He's got another video out that's about 6 minutes. It's well worth watching too. Right now, he is winning the Cool Campaign Videos Award. I'll just say that. But Fleming was on the side of term limits the entire time and wins the award from that standpoint. Plus, he is a stout conservative. There is zero doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so some of our conservative friends, in which, Jill Hines, for example, we've had Jill on the show countless times, and Jill had weighed into this, in which, I found it's interesting how, you align with people on issues. We were, I think, 100% aligned with Jill on the issues pertaining to the jab and COVID and all that crap and censorship. No questions asked, but jump off of that hill a little bit. I have found things that her and I don't agree with when it comes to election integrity. And I think it's just that she hasn't studied that issue as much as what I've studied that issue. And I think if she had, she would probably be where I was at. But, as time goes on, you find these issues that you find a little bit of difference. The interesting thing about this issue with the carbon sequestration thing is that I think a lot of the people that are not wanting to be on board with John Fleming, but are wanting to be on board with Miguez, they got a problem. They got a problem because John Fleming has seized the anti-carbon sequestration mantle and has made a point to show where almost everybody, look, up to this point, Governor Landry's been the one taking the beatings over all of that. But you know what? It takes two to tango. Here's the thing.
It takes the legislature to, pass the legislation.
That's right. But in this case, John Fleming ain't making the assertion essentially that this legislature is the ones that kind of ramrodded this thing. He's essentially saying the previous legislature, which is a lot of all the same people, to include Miguez, Seabiscuit, all of them, that they enabled all this carbon sequestration thing to get going where it's going. And
all right.
He's right. They all did vote to start moving this thing.
So I'm going to show the kind of the post that caught my interest and showed up in my Facebook feed was this one right here. So Scott McKay back a couple of days ago on the 18th, a few days ago, said re-shared the Fleming for Louisiana paid post, and McKay says, John Fleming is an original member of the House Freedom Caucus. Now he's trashing members of the Louisiana Freedom Caucus and paying Mark Zuckerberg to boost it for taking a position he says he favors. I don't know if I've ever seen something dumber than this, ever. If you're John Fleming, you might reconsider. This isn't what candidates do. Well, so what did Fleming post? Fleming posted, the hayride attempts to make excuses for the many legislators who have been 100% complicit in putting into effect CO2 sequestration since at least 2020. Now that this climate change scam has been uncovered by we the people, suddenly these conservative legislatures are running scared as we the people realize what has been done. Well, in that article from the hayride and based on those votes, it's Miguez and everybody we were just talking about. It leads right into what you were saying, Duke, that they voted this in. And now, admittedly, and I think, not speaking for Chuck, but I think he was going to probably say something to that effect because he's posted it, that he's kind of done a 180 on that stance and said, wait a minute, I think he actually did make a post. He can correct me later if I'm wrong. I think he did make a post that, hey, I think that was kind of a mistake that we did, and he's been in the fight against it. So was Fleming's calling out Danny McCormick.
Look, they all voted for this thing. It was unanimous in the previous legislature, and a lot of them say it was a mistake. They acknowledge that it was a mistake.
They read the bill, or they passed the bill before they read it to see what was in it. Right.
So when Fleming is sitting here saying, hey, the legislators are the ones that caused this problem. You enabled it to happen. Is he wrong? No, he's absolutely not wrong. But when Scott McKay and Jill Hines and all of them are taking offense to John Fleming in a political campaign, pointing out the fact that his opponents were part of the reason why this thing got enabled, they don't like it. and they're all jumping on John Fleming for pointing it out. I mean, look, John Fleming was one of the original founders of the Freedom Caucus. He was one of the original guys. And
Well,
so
look,
they're taking offense that him calling out members of the Freedom Caucus that enabled this.
well, it's like when you catch a kid with his hand in the cookie jar, and then I wasn't taking the cookies, Daddy. Well, get your hand out of the cookie jar, then, boy. I mean, and look, we're both huge fans of Danny McCormick and Chuck Owen and Blake Miguez too, and all the rest of them that he called out. But they can't hide from the vote, and apparently most of them have taken a pretty good stance. We know Danny has on the property rights side of all this, but the fact is they still voted that way. And you're right, Fleming has called them out. Now, I read some other articles. I can't remember. It may have been the Hayride's, retort to Fleming's posts on it, but and I think it was the Hayride, and I think Scott may have alluded to the fact that, well, maybe Fleming's changing the narrative or trying to ramp up this narrative because Blake has raised something like $800,000 in like 2 weeks or whatever for his campaign. And so, Fleming's trying to kind of, tamping down that momentum a little bit by raising this issue, rightfully so. Now, how well, I got to tell you, and again, I support John Fleming, like Blake Miguez, actually kind of support him too in all of this, but I got to say, I'm not sure how well calling out well-established conservatives is going to fly and translate into potential votes for Fleming. I'm just not sure of that yet.
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, here's the thing. John Fleming is doing what, we want of our elected officials, that he does. Right. It doesn't matter who it is. He's saying what needs to be said. He's standing in the right place. Should he not say anything and stand with the politicians, or should he take the side of the people where the people are? And the people don't want this, and that's where he's standing. They're in the heat of a political campaign, and he's pointing out the fact that these guys, whether they were misled on a vote, whether they made a mistake, regardless, I mean, he's pointing that out, and
look,
the public should be.
I don't disagree.
Paying attention to it.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, because again, for what it's worth, both of us officially support John Fleming, but I'm just pointing out how this is going to play to potential voters that are just, not diehard Fleming people, and because right here, let me point this out, and then I'll give you back the mic. Under Scott McKay's post here, you can see Fleming posted, and he did list some of the bills that, like Danny McCormick and all of them and Chuck Owen have put forth since that to help kind of lessen the pain.
He praised Chuck Owen and was praising Danny McCormick. I mean, right. he wasn't just gutting them. I mean, but the point of the matter is the public deserves to know what does Scott and Jill, and I'm sure Blake would rather that just your opponent not say anything at all. I mean, look, I love all these people to death, but you're in a campaign. You have to find the issues that separate, the things that separate you from everybody. And this is an issue that's important to a lot of people. It's affecting a lot of people across the state, and I think it's a smart move on John Fleming's part. He is separating himself from the political class, and he's saying, I stand with the people. Everybody else. And why is Scott McKay weighing in this so heavy?
I think my guess is because, Fleming was calling out McKay's post on the Hayride. And speaking of which, Chuck is in the green room, just to let you know.
Okay, well, we're fixing to bring Chuck in here, and I know Chuck can hear me, so we'll give him in case he doesn't know where we're at in this conversation, we'll talk a little bit more so that he'll kind of hear it so he caught flat-footed. But I think some of what reason Scott is in the middle of this is because, as I appreciate it, and I may be wrong, and Chuck will be able to confirm this, he's the leader of the Freedom Caucus PAC. So, I can see where John Fleming might be as an original founder of the Freedom Caucus, in DC. I can see where he might be taking a little bit of offense to maybe Scott taking a shot or not taking a shot. So
yeah, true enough. So I'm kind of getting the screen ready. Chuck, hold on just a second. We'll get you on. Give me just about a minute here, Duke.
But you're for people to be taking offense, I disagree with that because you're in the middle of a political campaign. Iron sharpens iron. And, if you made a bad vote, that's fine. If you were misled, that's fine. You say that, we move on. That's the way I would have dealt with this. But I think it's smart on Fleming's part to take the position to show him being in a different place on an issue than all of the other, the other candidates in the race. And everybody else in it is partisans, so.
Well, let me click a couple of buttons here and let's see if we can get Representative Chuck Owen on the show. Can you hear us?
Charlie, all good here. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. So as you may have heard, we were just kind of bantering back and forth about the whole John Fleming thing, but Duke, go ahead.
Hey, Chuck, glad you were able to make it, brother. So look, you and Danny, I tried to get both of you guys together, but he bailed on us and went to the beach. What kind of friend is that?
If anybody earns a vacation, it's going to be Danny. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, a little bit of delay, but it's fine. We can hear you. We can hear you okay.
So what is your take on this? What is your take on this thing with John Fleming? And I mean, we all know the politicos. We know it's just politics, but I mean, should people be getting offended by this or not? I mean, I personally think he's on the side of the people.
I am always bewildered at Republican fratricide. I don't understand. I don't understand the utility of it. Every one of us in the legislature, every one of us, 100% in 2020, voted to expand carbon sequestration. We have oil and gas below us. I live in Vernon Parish to the tune of something called the Austin Chalk, and it is a ton of oil and gas. But we've never really been able to access it because it's so far down and the pressure's so high. So when they came to us in 2020 and lobby and Louisiana Oil and Gas Association, who Danny's a member of, I think they're probably going to throw him out, but in Lamoga, and they said, we got to do this. This will help oil and gas. That's like asking me to help the LSU Tigers or asking me to, to help the Americans. I thought those guys were on my side. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't even know what that is, because you read a document and there's nothing about carbonic acid in this document. There's nothing about the plume or any other things that we've learned about the cascading effects. Thinking I'm going to help somebody in Terrebonne or Cameron. Why not help them? That's like asking me to help a sugarcane farmer. Every dang one of us probably voted the same reason. It's like, okay, we want to help oil and gas. So we got sandbagged. Every one of us got sandbagged. Danny included, Robbie Carter included. Every one of us got sandbagged on this thing. And we didn't really know the ramifications till 2 years later, till they started dropping dynamite in Lake Maurepas. And then the country people down there like going, what in the hell is happening here? So then we started coming together, going shoulder to shoulder on this thing. So there's a story. There's a long story behind all of this. And the resistance to it is coming together. As to what happened the other day, I don't know why Dr. Fleming did that. I am a fan of Dr. Fleming. I am for him. I'm also a fan of Blake Miguez. I'm not going to take a position in that horse race. I like them both. Both of them will be great senators. But it didn't sound like Dr. Fleming coming after us like that in that moment. I don't take offense to it because I don't work for anybody except 44,000 people who live by this river where I live. That's who I work for. So you can beat me. I've been beat to death for the last 2 years over this, so I'm used to it. So I'm just not a big fan of Republican fratricide, especially among conservatives. It's one thing not to want to beat on, a leftist or a moderate, but conservatives don't need to be hitting each other in the.
So let me ask maybe a silly question. So if in 2020 the law was passed to allow this to move forward, well, why don't y'all just pass a law to undo it?
Well, we've tried multiple times.
What happened? So that's for everybody else to know. That's watching. What happened?
So this last year, the bill that I brought this last year was to allow every parish the opportunity to opt out. Because I think if they want this in Cameron Parish or Vermilion Parish, then God bless them. Let them go do it. My citizens summarily do not want this. And so I was Pollyannish enough to think that I could bring a bill and I could come logically before my colleagues and say, hey, if you don't want it, we're not going to force it on you. I got run over like a cat in the road. Oil and gas came after me. They spent significant money coming after me, and all of us who were trying to go for. And I started calling it federalism, but there's actually another word for it. I forget the word, but state equivalent of federalism. I believe in local control. I believe that if people in Benton want something, they need to be able to decide it, not Baton Rouge. And so that's what I was going forward with. And so there was another one to get rid of eminent domain. Danny had a bill to make the whole process illegal. They all got murdered in committee. The virus is growing, though, I will tell you guys. It's now over in Rapides, and the people in Rapides are organizing. They are really mad in Rapides since they found out it's going to come to them. And so anywhere it pops up that someone wants to shove this in the ground, it'll pop up. If a news report came out and says we're going to start burying carbon in plain dealing, your people would raise hell.
You damn right, and I'll be leading the charge.
Yes. So, by the way, I lived up there for the better part of 15 years. When the Air Force I had 3 assignments at Barksdale, and when the Air Force got over, we stayed in Benton, and we educated our daughters at Benton High School and Bossier schools, and got a great education for my kids. And great safe environment. We loved it. But when my younger daughter graduated, my wife let me come back here to Leesville. So we kicked ourselves out and came home.
Interesting. So let me ask you, and that's very interesting history. Probably most of the folks watching the show didn't know about that. But let me ask you this. So who's killing the bills? I mean, what's going on here? Again, for the people that watch and not just us that pay attention to politics all the time, what is stopping the bill? Is it the oil and gas industry? Are they trying to stop these counter bills that y'all have been doing? Who's doing this?
They are a big part of it. You don't expect Democrats to come with you, and they rarely do. But what's happened is oil and gas and leadership in state economic development have proffered the notion, the myth or the lie, or whatever phrase you want to use, that if one parish decides they're not going to do carbon capture or carbon sequestration, then we will lose the Meta plant in Richland. Then we will lose the Hyundai steel plant. They were literally telling that. They told me in committee, wow. Representative Owen, if one parish doesn't do this, Meta won't come to Richland. You know how far I am from Richland Parish? You can't get there from here.
And I'm not taking the side of carbon sequestration because I'm absolutely not for it either. But let me paint you the scenario. It's kind of like dogs don't know fences and property lines, and, well, ducks don't know fences and property lines. Once they inject that carbon in the ground, if, let's say, Richland Parish, or, I'm picking one, said, no, we don't want it, well, the carbon dioxide is not going to know where the parish line is a couple thousand feet down.
That is a good point. And that's part of one of many points that I make on this incessantly and constantly about how dumb of an idea this is. We don't know the geologic formations below the earth where I live. because we in Vernon Parish, the Army occupies 250,000 acres. They took 250,000 acres, and I'm glad, because our country needs an army, and they train here. They're gargantuan compared to Barksdale. I mean, literally 250,000 acres. The state has no idea what's below the earth here, but they want to put this in the ground and just hope for the best. There's no telling where it's going to go to. My point for trying to get local option was to try to fight at the Alamo first. I would love to see this removed from the state, removed as an option, because look, capturing carbon is a fool's errand. It's not going to work. The leftists who want to do this have offered up a lie that the Earth's climate is changing because of man's activities. And even if that's true, there's no way to change the Earth unless everyone on Earth participates this. And we're the only ones who are doing it.
Well, we're coming off the last ice age. That's a whole other conversation. So yeah, we ain't stopping it. We didn't cause it, and we ain't stopping it. But go ahead, dude. I digress.
No, it's
Chuck,
just,
as a past good friend of yours always says, Davy Crockett, I don't want to abuse your time and beat you up with questions, and you know who that is. But you know, is the money part of this not, you know, the money that they're getting from the government on this thing, you know, per ton, or the Green New Deal money? Is that if that goes away, will this thing come to a screeching halt, or is that inaccurate? Because I hear a lot of people say that we need to cut it off at the federal level.
it will end overnight. There is no identifiable or market demand for burial of carbon. That's something LED likes to tell. And there's an agency at LSU called the Center for Energy Studies, and they always talk about the market demand, but they can't show me anything in writing. I've done the digging. There are no market demands to bury carbon. There are places, they're mostly ideological, like pockets in Europe, who say we want to decarbonize, but they're not going to turn away liquefied natural gas that comes from the Haynesville Shale because someone didn't capture carbon off of that. It is an absolute fraudulent story to say that. It's not true. And so, yes, if the federal tax credits are removed from this, it will fold like it will just fold. It will go away like a cheap suit.
So probably what we should be, you know, the anti-CCS people, what we should be advocating probably extraneously is to get our people to bend their federal legislators to, you know, try to do something about this and stop this sooner rather than later. And go ahead.
I wish someone could, Congressman Johnson. I can't get through. I love Mike Johnson. I trust him, and I trust John Kennedy, but it almost feels like there's a cloak over them. We can't get them to say, man, that's a good idea. We're going to support you people in the country. All we hear is, man, there's a lot of money involved. There's companies that have invested money. Well, we live here.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I had a Solomon solution for that this year. One of my bills I had offered up was that if we were given local option, the state would provide a tax credit for any company that had sunk money into this, because they're talking. It's like, well, we've already spent the money, we can't stop them. Well, the state did this. The state take responsibility for its actions and get out of the way and let people make their own. So I didn't get to run that bill because my local option bill died.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, Duke. You must have sent that text message to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, I did. I was going to say as well, regardless of which one of our candidates is in the runoff, and I would even say that if John Bel Edwards is the Democrat opponent to whichever one of our Republican, we need to try to demand all of you, because we have folks that are libertarian Democrats that watch our show as well. But you know, it's important. Party affiliation really doesn't matter here. But we need to demand of any of those Senate candidates to commit to stop this crap. I mean, we need to do away with that. No, I mean, I know that's stepping out on a thin limb to expect anybody to go to D.C. and carry carry their own wood, but we need to demand, make them commit during these campaigns that they will do what they can to stop this.
I am utterly confident that Dr. Cassidy or Dr. Fleming or Senator Miguez will stop this. I've talked to both of them about it. They both understand the fraud. Cassidy's a believer. Cassidy came down here, and he and I mean, look, I respect him in his office. He came down here and held a meeting about this, and was not well received. And I actually wasn't even invited to the meeting, and someone told me it was happening. So I went to it, and he and I had our own little gentle discussion about it, about what a fool's errand it is. Because these people that believe this stuff will really tell you, well, we can sell our oil and gas better if it's decarbonized.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
With that. But God made carbon. We have trees. Trees eat carbon. And for people to be so bought into this notion, and so it's either for money or ideology. I wrote a piece about this that appeared in the paper about 2 weeks. It's either ideology or money. There's no other reasons for doing this.
You're not incorrect about that. Usually it's that old saying, follow the money.
Yep.
My bet's on money. My bet's on money.
All
right.
The last 2 days, Louisiana Public Broadcasting was here. They're doing a piece on this. And they had 3 reporters that came, and they had me on a panel back in April, and they had treated me fairly. We had a good debate with 3 or 4 people, and they wanted to come up here and meet our citizens. And one of them told me straight up, said, look, I'm a leftist, and I initially believed in this because I believe that we're polluting the planet and that we're changing climate. She said, but once we dug into this, figured out what a fraud it is, it's like now the left doesn't want it. The only people that want this are charlatans on the right. That's all. That's the only people that are for are charlatans on the right who are trying to gather money. Even the ideologues don't really believe it anymore. I'm gonna get in trouble for calling people.
No, I watched one of those LPB that you were on. You did a wonderful job, and you could actually, what you're articulating, I could see I could see that in them. The person that was doing the show or mediating the show, you could read it on their face. You hit it out the park. Somebody in the comments, made a point. The thing between the governor and the legislature. I mean, the governor couldn't, if the governor wanted to run all of this through, he couldn't have done it by himself. He had to have the legislature to do it. We know that lobbyists are squeezing the legislators. How are we going to break this thing? I mean, I don't know that the governor is going to buck, this industry. He's going to, I think, be loyal to this industry. I mean, what can people do? I mean, does it even matter if they send every legislator an email or call down there? I mean, how much of an effect does that have on these guys, or are they just ignoring it?
I think at this point, we're kind of in between quarters. But based on what I've seen happening in Rapides Parish, those people are hot there. And anytime the word of this comes to a parish, the people get really upset. They're like going, wait a minute, you have the option of taking my land for this? And you're going to do what under my feet? And you can't tell me where it's going to go? I think the more that these stories get communicated to legislators from citizens, I think they will hear it. And look, I'm sure Danny has told you all about this. It's 2 years ago, like 16 Republican legislators got sent home in South Dakota by 16 Republicans who were for property rights. So they're going to be forced, all of us are going to get the opportunity next year to vote on property rights again. Do you want people to control their own personal property? And that'll be a linchpin. Now, I am optimistic that the governor will listen to the will of the people. I'm hopeful. How about that? I'm hopeful because this is loud. This is very, very loud. And For people that don't have it, they don't get it. It's like, what are you talking about? So I'm just grateful that y'all are talking about it up there. I have proposed, and in fact, I'm going to propose legislation this time that anywhere carbon is captured, the first thing that must be done is they must do an announcement sticking it right back in the ground where it came from. I can promise you, the good people of Bossier Parish or DeSoto Parish would throw up on the rug if that became the reality. Start sticking that back in your groundwater.
Well, I can tell you from a personal note, just this week, Chuck, I had a lady from Bossier Parish call me. She said that she called a police juror in Bossier Parish asking whether or not the Bossier Parish police jury had weighed into this debate at all, trying to support through the Police Jury Association, the parishes down there that are trying to oppose this. To which the police juror in Bossier Parish said, well, that's not ever coming here. We've got no interest. We're not engaged in that. We're not doing anything. You don't have to worry about that. And this lady, before the end of the conversation, was crying on the phone with me, crying about it because she felt like our police jurors had their head buried in the sand. And, I think she's right to be concerned about it. And because parishes that don't necessarily have this coming right now, they shouldn't just let their guard down, and they should be engaged with the parishes like yours that are having to deal with this right now, because it could at a moment's notice be in Bossier Parish. I mean, and if Bossier Parish jumped up there, they could find themselves in a lawsuit overnight and have their back against the wall. Is that right?
Yep. I don't know about a lawsuit, but I know that it could happen because people that crave this are craving that money, and they're willing to do just about anything. Hearing one governing body say, "I'm not worried about something that's happening 100 miles from me," kind of gnaws at me. That's like telling Davy Crockett, "We're not sending anybody to help." Davy Crockett needed people. They needed help. We need help. And I'm grateful for the help we're getting. Look, Danny McCormick, God bless him. This is not his fight. He has waded into this. And he is fighting with both hands because it's right. And that's what we're paid to do, is to go to Baton Rouge and do what's right. I'm going to tell y'all, during the COVID lockdowns, I was raising hell because of what was happening in New Orleans. They kept them locked down there for months and months and months after everybody else. And I couldn't get anyone on board to help me. I wanted to do a petition to end their emergency. And no one had the nerve to do it. Well, that's none of our business. Yeah, but those are our citizens.
Yeah.
Those are Louisianians who are being locked down by tyrants. And that's the way we feel. Like we'll take all the help we can get and all the attention to this because it matters. This is Louisiana. This is about the future of Louisiana.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and kind of setting the record straight and what really transpired and all that. We absolutely, I'm pretty sure I can speak for both of us, appreciate you doing that. And even though, y'all have admittedly, some mistakes were made that got us in this mess, y'all are doing what you can to try to fix the mess.
No, absolutely. There's nobody that opposed this. There's no one that's ever opposed this until now, because no one knew the end game ramifications. You go back and read the bill from 2020 or 2009. There's nothing in there about any of this. It just says we're going to capture it and sequester it. It's like, well, okay. And once you find out what that means, you get startled, and then people get startled. You start talking. I wish I had perfect knowledge 5 years ago. I did not.
Well,
but by God,
at least you're doing the right thing
now.
Hey,
yeah, Chuck, you're a fighter, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. I mean, I watch you in committee all the time. You and Danny are two of my favorites, and it's regretful that we've never had you on Bossier Watch before, but because a lot of the work you do benefits the citizens of Bossier Parish as well. So keep up the good work, and in the future, I don't want to abuse your time tonight. I know that you kind of were rushing to get in here, and when you have some legislation, you need a little help, and we need to twist some arms up here in Bossier, call us. Let's get you on the show and let's talk about it. Let's twist some arms.
No doubt, I will. I'm grateful for y'all. My wife and I miss Bossier in a lot of ways. We lived, like I said, in Benton. We had a great church. We were there, and still have family there. So very much attached to your area. And you guys keep up the good work. Thank you for caring and speaking up. Keep raising Cain.
Thank you, Chuck.
Amen, brother. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Well, look, he's a good dude. He, in my opinion, he admitted that, they didn't realize what, like he just said, what the end game was, and they're staunchly on board against it. I can't fault Dr. Fleming for calling them out on it. Again, my only thing is I'm not sure how that's going to play politically, but technically, he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I don't know how it'll play either. I mean, I know the point is Fleming's right. They're all right. I mean, look, when you're sitting down there, I mean, in some of the organizations you've depended on and the lobbyists, there's so much legislation that pours through there. These legislators do not have the time to read every bill, from beginning to end. They try, but they can't cover it all. So they depend on lobbyists or people with knowledge to tell them what exactly this bill will do. And, that's why you'll see these cards will get put from this organization or that organization on all of their desks, telling them, or giving them some simplification of what the bill does. And like Chuck was saying, they weren't told that, there's this problem with carbonic acid, or, there's this thing. We don't know how big the plumes will be, or what the expansion rate, or how far it'll go. You're not going to see all that. You're either going to see the positive, and it's steering is the best way I can describe it. And, they did the best that they could at the time. And I will take a step back. I mean, I remember when I tried to run for the legislature, one of the things I was saying is that we reduce the quantity of legislation that comes through so that the legislators have more time to process the bills, and we create a better product over quantity. A lot of people would take issue with that, but I would rather get it right the first time than have to come back and have more bills trying to fix all the mistakes that we made in the past. That's just me. And
all right, I want to do a little bit of a squirrel moment. So Cassie Rogers had a question a little while ago when Mr. Cliff was on, and he was talking about having the town hall style meeting and the workshop or whatever that the city council has coming up. Anyway, she had a question. She said, would it be illegal if all the councilmen went to the meeting, talking about, I think, the town hall meeting? I don't know if you're still watching, Cassie. She says, just wondering. Well, the problem is, technically, I don't think it would be illegal unless they started discussing some agenda items and tried to come up with or take any actions, but it would be so close to a walking quorum, if not over the line, that it would not be a good idea for a majority of the council to attend. I have to go back and read the open meetings laws and all that. It may actually be a walking quorum if they all attended and were taking questions about things that were coming up, where it could be construed as coming to some kind of opinion or decision without having a full meeting. So to answer that, Cassie, it probably is, but either way, it would be so close to the line that I wouldn't suggest it. Not the full council.
No doubt. They wouldn't want to risk that and take no chance. But I mean, these guys, they're off to the races. They, got, I mean, good grief, subpoenas and town hall meetings and all this. I mean, they're going to conduct more business and do more things of consequence and an audit. I mean, good
Yeah.
grief. I think, if I recall correctly, I heard an interview or something to the effect where Tommy Chandler said that an audit would be too costly. Did you hear that? I think it might have been on Keel. Did you hear
I
that?
think so. Don't
Well,
make me say something mean about Tommy tonight.
you don't have to say anything, but I'm going to pose a question.
Hey, Tommy, I'll bet it wouldn't be as expensive as those parking lots. Sorry, you couldn't resist, Duke. Sorry.
That was not where I was going. But correct me if I'm wrong. Was it or was it not a campaign promise of Tommy when he ran the first time to do an audit?
Well, here you go, Duke. See, it's like putting catnip in front of me. So it was also a campaign promise, and I just reshared because it was a Facebook memory. The Sobo luncheon that we videoed and posted a couple of years ago, where Tommy swore up and down and patted Shane on the back, and he's my right hand man. We see how far that got. Tommy also ran on auditing Man Shack. Oh, we see how far that went. What else did he run on? Oh, term limits. He did kind of support those, except his literal legal counsel that he appointed and hired fought it and cost us a ton of money to get that pushed through, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears by a whole lot of people. Oh, shall I go on?
I'm not critical of Tommy on the term limits thing. Could he have done more? Yeah, he could have done more. But did he do enough? He did enough. But on this audit thing, for him to say, it costs too much. Come on now.
How about that parking lot access there, Tommy? What about that? How expensive was that? But I digress.
And what about the overpass to Benton? I mean, he let the contract out, and as a result, shut down the Shed Road crossing. And tried to that was on Tommy. All I know is that if I was the fire chief, I would audit my department. And if you're a department head in one of the other, you should audit your departments. I mean, they should just do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't disagree at all. Where you at, Tommy? Quit taking selfies. I mean, you're very good at selfies. We all get it. Quit taking selfies. Do real mayoral administrative type stuff. But anyway. All right, Mr. Lowrie, what else you got tonight? That was two interesting guests, of course, Mr. Cliff Smith and Representative Chuck Owen. Both great people.
Yep, great guys doing good stuff, and that is what public service is about. Chuck Owen, we didn't even get to talk about him and his military career or what have you. Great guys doing great things, and those are the type of people we need in there. And you guys should really take some time, study up on this carbon sequestration thing again, and you need to let even our local legislators, even though we may not have any active carbon being pumped into the ground here, like you heard Chuck saying, those parishes down there need attention. They need support, and our legislators need to hear. You're their constituents. You need to let them know where you stand. Multiple people in the comments were posting about the port. That the port is driving this thing, and our legislators do not want to go against the port. They don't want, I'm just going to say it like it is. Some of the same people that we've been fighting in Bossier City are calling the shots down there with the port. And at the end of the day, it's about money, and it's not about you making money or protecting your interests, but about the port making money and protecting the port's interests.
While taking our money.
That's right. That's right.
All right, well, Mr. Lowrie, I think I'm going to go in and see if I can scrounge up some dinner. It has been another good, informative show. I'm glad you got Mr. Chuck on, and he was able to get away and go ahead and make some time to come talk to everybody. Those will be some excellent little shorts that I'll cut up because I think that'll play into the carbon sequestration drama and debate that's going on. And maybe that'll help clear some things up for some folks.
It will. Good night. Appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right. See y'all.